In the great cosmic lottery of history, some are dealt aces, while others barely scrape by with twos. Our hero, Carolus Magnus, Charlemagne to us common folk, was a straight flush. Born amidst the shadowy aftermath of Rome's colossal collapse, he was a beacon of promise. From a scrappy Frankish prince to a king with a destiny, Charlemagne was about to turn this wild, fractured continent into his personal playground. Cue the drama. History's greatest comeback story is about to unfold. Chapter 1. The Warrior King and His Conquests. Our tale now unfolds across the vibrant tapestry of battlefields, where our hero, Charlemagne, steps forth, not as a king tucked away in his throne room, but as a leading warrior. Aha, but he was no brutish thug, swinging his sword blindly. No, indeed, Charlemagne, our warrior king, was a chess player in the heart of chaos. With a fiery gaze that would put a dragon to shame, he would survey the field, a tumultuous sea of clashing steel and raw courage. Each campaign was an art to him, every maneuver a note in a deadly symphony. From the Lombards in Italy to the Saxons in northern Germany, from the Moors in Spain to the Avars in Eastern Europe, none could resist the advancing tide of Charlemagne's forces. But it was not merely about the thrill of the fight. Each conquest was a stepping stone, a piece in the puzzle of a united Western Europe. With each victory, Charlemagne was not just extending his realm, but also laying the foundation of an empire that was to echo through eternity. This, my friends, was a king who knew how to play the Game of Thrones. Chapter 2. Politics and Diplomacy in the Age of Charlemagne. In the high-stakes game of medieval politics, Charlemagne proved himself quite the grandmaster. His court was a hive of diplomacy, buzzing with dignitaries from far-off lands. His banquet table played host to Saxons, Lombards, even the mighty Byzantines. The stakes, power, alliances, and the delicate dance of empire building. Oh, and let's not forget the Vatican. Charlemagne's relationship with the papacy was a rich tapestry of intrigue and mutual benefit. When Pope Leo III needed a hero, who better than our gallant Carolus Magnus? And when Charlemagne sought divine validation, who better than the Pope himself? Remember that thrilling Christmas day in 800? The Pope, with trembling hands, placing the imperial crown on Charlemagne's mighty head? That wasn't just a holiday spectacle. It was a grand political chess move, putting a decisive check on the Byzantines and securing Charlemagne's position as the Holy Roman Emperor. Underneath the iron exterior of the warrior king, there beat the heart of a master diplomat. As shrewd in the council chamber as he was fierce on the battlefield, Charlemagne truly was a king for the ages. Chapter 3. Carolus Magnus, the cultivator of knowledge. Our protagonist, Carolus Magnus, Charlemagne if you will, wasn't merely a conquering powerhouse. He had a softer side, one that yearned for wisdom. We're stepping into the halcyon days of the Carolingian Renaissance, where our unlikely king morphed into a patron of learning, a Renaissance man before the Renaissance was even a thing. Charlemagne, crowned in the regalia of royalty, was often spotted in the intellectual company of scholars, and guess what? He was no silent bystander, far from it. He actively encouraged dialogues, kindling the flames of knowledge in his court. He envisioned a society of letters, of poetry and philosophy, an empire that throbbed with the pulse of enlightenment. In his quest for intellectual grandeur, Charlemagne revamped the education system, introducing schools that sculpted the minds of the youth, kindling a love for learning. Even the church was not spared. He insisted clergy were as comfortable with parchment and quill as they were with the scriptures. Beneath his warrior facade, Charlemagne was a scholar at heart, a king who fostered a culture of wisdom, setting the stage for the Europe we recognize today. Chapter 4. Christmas 800. The crowning of an empire. The year was 800. The stage was set in Rome. Tinsel-topped trees? No. Candy canes? Nope. Christmas in the 8th century was a less jolly affair, but that year, it was to be an unforgettable one. Charlemagne, our warrior king with an affection for education, found himself in Rome. Amidst ancient stone columns and under the watchful eyes of a weather-worn St. Peter's Basilica, a crowd had gathered, buzzing with anticipation. It wasn't a lottery, nor a gladiator fight. This was the crowning of an empire. Pope Leo III, no stranger to intrigue himself, held in his hands a jewel-encrusted crown, the symbol of a united Europe. As the heavy crown descended onto Charlemagne's curly mane, the crowd held its collective breath. A king was becoming an emperor, a Frankish realm was transforming into the Holy Roman Empire. As the Pope declared him emperor, Charlemagne, the man of the hour, played his part perfectly. Feigning surprise and humility, he accepted his new title. Whether it was divinely inspired or masterfully plotted, Christmas Day had marked a new chapter in the annals of Western Europe. Jingle bells? Perhaps not, but it was indeed a Christmas to remember. Chapter 5: Charlemagne's Legacy and the Holy Roman Empire. As the curtain of time fell on the 8th century, there stood a ruler at its threshold, a man who had dared to resurrect Rome's fallen grandeur. Charlemagne, our unlikely hero, stood at the helm of a new empire, bathed in the glow of unparalleled accomplishment. However, even heroes must heed time's call, and in 814, Charlemagne took his final bow. His death marked an end of an era, but the seeds he'd sown, those grand ideals of unity and knowledge, had taken root in the fertile soil of Europe. His successors, cloaked in the towering shadow of their forebear, faced the daunting task of maintaining his gargantuan empire. Was it a kingdom of glory they inherited, or was it a puzzle too large to solve? The empire he left behind was like a castle made of sand, glorious to behold but delicate, too delicate. Sure, fissures would appear, and the empire would crumble, slowly transforming into a medley of feuding principalities and dukedoms. Yet, like a ghost ship, the idea of the Holy Roman Empire persisted, a stubborn echo of Charlemagne's dreams, winding its way through history until 1806. The legacy of Charlemagne, thus, was not merely in the land he conquered, but in the grand spectacle of unity he envisioned, an idea that held a mirror to Europe, reflecting what could be. Even as the edges of his empire frayed, the flame Charlemagne ignited refused to die, reminding us that sometimes the realm of ideas is more enduring than that of stone and sword. Chapter 6: Unraveling the Legend of Charlemagne. Ah, legends. They have a way of amplifying a man, making him a titan, a paragon, a figure that seems to straddle the earth like a colossus. But just like peeling back the layers of an onion, the legend of Charlemagne, too, has many facets waiting to be discovered. Rulers aren't born legends, you know. They're carefully crafted, sometimes purposefully, sometimes unwittingly, by the circumstances and events of their time. And our Charlemagne was no exception. He was painted as a man of impeccable virtue, a pious soul, and a masterful ruler, a man who effortlessly wielded his scepter in one hand and his pen in the other. But let's not forget, his reign was also marked by bloody conquests, political maneuverings, and forceful Christian conversions. Did the end justify the means? That's a debate for another day. Our Charlemagne was as complex as the times he lived in, a mixture of light and shadows, a true human. The Holy Roman Empire he birthed was hailed as the rebirth of Western civilization. Yet it was an entity that strived and struggled to hold on to its identity throughout history, much like Charlemagne himself. Charlemagne was no saint, nor was he a villain. He was a man, perhaps a great man, who left an indelible mark on the canvas of history.